Hello, my name is Phil Lechak. We are here in the Gettysburg Soldiers National Cemetery. We're standing at the New York spot. Soldiers in the cemetery were buried by state. Turns out we're going to talk about a 33-year-old New Yorker. We'll find out more about him in a moment. Upwards of 165,000 individuals were here, wearing either a blue or gray uniform, and everyone has a story. However, we know the story of this one man, immediately not by his name, by something he's holding. Let's back up to May of 1863. This man is going to open an envelope mailed to him by his wife. In the envelope is a photo, and he will send back to his wife a letter with the words, "I got the likeness of the children, and it pleased me more than anything that you could have sent me. How I want to see them and their mother is more than I can tell. I hope that we may all live to see each other again if this war does not last too long." Unfortunately, this man is going to be dead in 2 months. It turns out in the New York section, soldiers are buried, as you can see, in these arced curves. And the rows are not numbered, they are lettered. A, B, C. The row furthest away is row A. Row B is coming in, the second row. We're actually going to walk to site B14. As you stand at the New York Monument and take a look toward the back row of graves, there happens to be one with a cross. We're going to walk toward that cross. Remember, we're going to go to row B, site 14. We have walked to the site of B14 in the National Cemetery, the site of this New Yorker. I finished the first stop mentioning a photograph. Actually, it's called an embryotype. Think of it as a wall of photograph of the day. It's important because it tells the next part of this chain of events, or coincidences, or divine appointments. On the afternoon of July 1st, Wednesday, if we look almost directly over the top of the cross, it takes us to the intersection of York and Stratton Street. That is going to be roughly where the firehouse is, the Gettysburg Firehouse. It's where a body's going to be found a few days after the fighting. If I had to guess, it's probably Monday, July 6th. What will happen next in this chain is Benjamin Shriver will come here with his daughter. He is an innkeeper in a village, Grafenberg, off to my right, to your left. What he will be doing is coming and seeing the area. His oldest daughter is Jane. At the time of the battle, she is 14 years old, according to the 1860 census. She is going to come across a body, unfortunately a terrible sight. This body has been out in the open air for 4 or 5 days. What makes it unique is a photograph the soldier is holding, the photograph we referred to earlier. She will call to her father, he will come over, he will take the photograph, the soldier will be buried, and he will take the photograph back to the inn in Grafenberg. It becomes a memento of the battle, a curio. He will use it talking of what he saw. The next event, a few days later, 4 men arrive in Grafenberg. They have a wagon breakdown, and they stay at his inn. One of the men is Dr. John Barnes, a Philadelphia surgeon. He will see the photo, hear the story, and talk Benjamin Shriver into giving him the photo so that he can then do what he can to identify who this soldier is. I imagine that either Ben or the daughter will come to Gettysburg with him, show him where it was found. The grave will be marked. Dr. John is going to go to Philadelphia and go to different photographers. He's going to create what's called a carte de visite. Think of it as a business card that has a photo on one side and some writing on the back. His idea, sell these, and with the funds, find out who the widow is in the family. On October 19, an article in the Philadelphia Inquirer will be written. Who was their father? It includes a detailed description of the photo, because in 1860s, you couldn't print a photo in a newspaper. That article will also give Dr. John's address, a request for information, and asking other newspapers to pick up the story. October 29, the American Presbyterian, the sectarian publication, will reprint the article. Newspapers will be mailed out, and a single issue will be mailed to Portville, New York, 130 miles from here, and the newspaper will be passed around. In early November, Dr. John gets a letter from the postmaster of Portville saying that a woman, Phil Humiston, recognized the description of the photograph and wondered, might it be her husband? She has not heard from him in a while, and of course is concerned. Dr. John will then mail a carte de visite out to her, and at that point it will be confirmed that the soldier is Sergeant Amos Humiston, whose grave is right here. She doesn't come to Gettysburg immediately, but at least now she knows that her husband has passed on. In January of '64, Dr. John is going to go to Portville, present her with the photo and the money he has received from selling the carte de visite all this time. He said as he gave her the bloodstained photo, her hands trembled like an aspen leaf. That's not the end of the story. Following, Dr. John and others are going to realize there's something more that needs to be done. Money will be collected from sales of the carte de visite, sales of a poem, and sales of a musical piece, The Children of the Battlefield. They will purchase a building on the Baltimore Pike. As we take a look off past the red maple to my left rear, that is where the site of the National Orphanage is going to be. No longer there, although the building is. It is bordered today from the rear by the cemetery annex behind me, Evergreen Cemetery to its right to my left, and across the street, the current bus parking lot of the Gettysburg Tour Company. In October of 1866, Phil Humiston, with her 3 children, Franklin, Alice, and Frederick, will arrive. She will become a worker at the orphanage. Where we're standing now, at the grave of Sergeant Humiston, the 3 children will come and place flowers at Dad's gravesite. He's been buried here for 3 years. To finish the story briefly, Flynn and children will stay for 3 years. It's described as being 3 hard years. She will meet a man, Asa Barnes, a doctor from Massachusetts. They marry. She will relocate to Massachusetts with the children, and that finishes the story. We'd never know the details had it not been for a mother's gift to her husband of the family, and the family love this American dad as he passes his dying glances at his kids. The story of Sergeant Amos Humiston. Thank you for listening.